Think about the last time your life felt too heavy. You were exhausted, overwhelmed, and desperately needed a hand. But you did not call anyone. You simply told yourself, I will deal with it. Somehow, you always do. People see you as the strong one, the reliable one, the person who can handle anything. What they do not see is how much you are carrying when no one is around. And even when someone asks, are you okay? Your answer is almost always the same. I am fine. Because when self-reliance becomes an identity, silence stops being a choice. It becomes your default setting. So why is asking for help so terrifying? The truth has nothing to do with weakness and everything to do with how your brain learned to survive. The strange thing is, you do not even think about asking anymore. The moment something goes wrong, your mind already has a plan. I will figure it out myself. Even when the weight becomes unbearable, reaching out feels more painful than struggling in silence. It is not a lack of trust. It is an invisible barrier that quietly tells you to pull back. So you keep going. You solve one problem after another. You smile when people see you. You tell yourself you will rest later, even though that later never really comes. The loneliest part? Everyone thinks you have it all under control. They do not see that carrying the world on your shoulders has slowly become your normal. But patterns like this do not appear overnight. They usually begin much earlier than most people realize. Long before you became fiercely independent, there was a time when you did reach out. But perhaps you were dismissed, ignored, or left to handle a heavy situation alone because the adults around you were too distracted. You may not even remember those moments anymore, but your mind does. Little by little, it learned a simple lesson. Depending on other people can end in disappointment. So instead of taking that risk again, you started depending on yourself. What started as a survival mechanism slowly hardened into your personality. Today, asking for help does not just feel uncomfortable, it feels like a violation of the rules you built to keep yourself safe. Sometimes you do not even notice what this pattern is costing you until it starts changing every part of your life. You become the person everyone depends on, but when you are the one struggling, almost no one realizes it because you have spent years convincing the world that you are always okay. In relationships, you become the emotional anchor, always listening, never sharing. You accidentally lock out the people who genuinely care because your automatic response is always, I have got it. At work, you overcompensate. You collect tasks like armor, treating shared responsibilities as personal failures. The result is not just physical fatigue, it is a constant mental exhaustion where even resting feels like work. The hardest part is the loneliness. Not because nobody cares about you, but because nobody can see the battle you are hiding. And after living this way for so long, being overwhelmed starts to feel normal, even though it was never supposed to. The good news is, patterns like this do not have to control you forever, but they usually do not disappear all at once, because they were not created all at once either. Real change does not begin by forcing yourself to suddenly depend on everyone. It begins the first time you let one safe person see that you are struggling instead of pretending you are fine. Initially, this will feel incredibly uncomfortable. Your brain will scream that you are being a burden. Expect that reaction. It is just an old defense mechanism fighting to survive. But with time, you rewrite the script. You teach your nervous system a new truth, that vulnerability does not equal danger, and that some people are actually safe enough to lean on. True strength is not carrying everything alone. It is knowing that you can stand on your own, while also allowing the right people to stand beside you. That is how the weight finally begins to feel a little lighter. Doing everything alone was never a sign of weakness. It was simply the way your mind learned to protect itself. If this resonates with you, consider sharing your story in the comments. How often do you use the words, I am fine? If you want to understand your mind a little better and discover more hidden patterns like these, click on the video appearing on your screen right now. And if you enjoy Psychology Made Simple, hit subscribe and join us. Until next time, keep thinking deeply.